brothers.
It's all good. It's all good. So have you guys heard this? Who's that Oliver dude? Have y'all heard
North?
that? Yeah, Stone? Oliver, what is that? That country boy, rich man from Richmond?
Rich man from Richmond.
I haven't heard it.
No, sorry. I
haven't watched any current events lately in the past couple of days, so.
Yeah, not in the last 2 or 3 days.
So y'all don't know about Richmond from Richmond. Richmond, north of Richmond.
Okay, tell us about it.
Well, snap it, dap it, do.
Enlighten me.
Well, put your Google on, and research rich men north of Richmond. Yeah, you got your Google. So we'll probably take a little pause here. So these
blue
men,
collar political anthem. Richmond, north of Richmond, takes the internet by storm.
we'll pause here right now and let these boys listen to this. So we'll
it's
be
this
right
is
back.
the redheaded guy from Appalachia or whatever that
He's from
country and western.
He's from Virginia.
It's good. It's real good.
I want to see him pull that woke shit off in Viter or Crockett. See, have somebody walk into town and tell some of them old cotton growers that. Anyway.
Working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
All right, so we just got through listening to
Wow.
Who is he? Oliver
Anthony.
Oliver Anthony's. What's it called? Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yeah.
And, you know, the rich men north of Richmond, of course.
Yeah.
It's D.C.
It's that's a true story right there.
That's a true story right now.
Pretty accurate.
I mean, it's moving.
Well, I found it very interesting because if you think about it, think about this two-party system that we've got today. And, you know, back in Lincoln's day, what the Republican Party stood for and what the Democratic Party stood for, you know, it was the Republican Party that worked to help free the slaves, and the Democrats was the KKK. And then it flipped around a little bit, and the Democratic Party back in my day, you know, or back in the anti-war guys in the 60s, the 50s and 60s.
The late 70s.
And, you know, of course, Republicans are sending people to war, which is
Well, it actually
a military
wasn't
complex.
the
But
Republicans. it was the Democratic Warhawks that were
but
doing it.
then, you know, the Democratic Party became the party of the working man, right?
No, they just changed their
And then
narrative.
I'm just saying that's what they stood for, is just trying to take care of the working man. And the Republican Party was, you know, pro big business and taking care of big business. And, you know, then it
At least
became
they've
the
been
Democrats
consistent.
are socialists, tax the heck out of everybody, and Republicans became, you know, the party of no big business or no big government. And now where are we at today, where it's just doesn't freaking matter.
Well, they're
All
starting
they're trying to do is
be-
divide us.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. But there's a lot more people that are getting tired of things that are happening, and specifically coming out of the military or the fringe communities and running for office and winning. The latest is Tony Gonzalez has got a competitor, which is Brandon Herrera, the AK guy from YouTube. He wants to take over the seat for the 23rd district. And that's probably one of the biggest or the biggest in the state of Texas. And he is definitely not liberal, but he's a young guy. He's not even 30, I don't think.
Well, I believe he'll get in there, and then he'll become one of them.
Yeah,
The
we
machine
don't
will
know that.
turn them around. I think that's about all of them. Once they get in there and they start feeling that power, they can't let it go.
Well, that's possible.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I'm going to believe it.
I think there's
So,
some.
but
some
the thing, this Oliver Anthony, right?
Correct.
They're calling this a right-wing anthem, battle cry, or whatever it is, and it has. It's
Well,
crazy how
it's-
this guy's singing about the working man getting taxed to death, You know, when we're
Yeah.
paying for 5'3" people that weigh 300 pounds. We're paying them to go get bags of fudge rounds so they can stay 300
and
pounds,
bottom
and we're paying for
surgery.
that. And people are dying and killing themselves to make the money to pay the taxes, and we got these people out there
Well,
just
the
milking
liberal
us
elite
dry.
is
But
vilifying everything that is starting at the middle and working its way to the right.
he's singing about the working man,
He is.
which is what, 20 or 30 years ago, is the Democratic Party would have championed that.
The outlaw country, the Waylon Jennings, and all of those guys.
So anyway, I just think it's curious how it's all just transitioned,
Things
and
tend to
flip-flopped and
things tend
flop-flipped.
to run in a circle,
The pendulum has swung.
like your big sweaty
Yeah,
balls.
but how deep?
My
The thing
tonic
is
testicles.
it keeps swinging back and forth, but it keeps clicking down.
Oh yeah,
And it-
yeah.
but- and at
it's
one
running
point-
out of momentum pretty
and,
soon.
at what point does it actually cut the rope? And then we go into this whole
Are we due for another revolution? Are we due for another
that's
hot,
what it
hot conflict?
that's what it
I
looks
don't
like.
know.
That's what it looks
seemed-
like to me. The thing
Well-
is there.
I don't know that it's not going to be the country versus the city the way things are stacking up now, because the cities are turning mostly blue or purple, and the country is staying red. Everybody outside the city limits is red and getting redder because they're pissed off. They don't like it. They're having to work twice as hard to make the same money. They're not, and they get crapped on. Whether it's
That's what he just said.
Yeah,
What we just heard in that song.
Yeah,
Working all
that-
that time for
Don't-
bullshit pay.
don't mind me.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Dollar
it's-
ain't worth
I-
shit. It
I-
gets taxed to no end.
Anyone can sit and watch the news, and I do it all the time, and you see it, you hear about it, you can go in all the programs and you can see it's totally two agendas, two narratives. Well, there's one narrative and then there's the truth.
And they stay polarized.
Exactly. But the people that are, there's been like a lot of restraint in terms of conservatives right now because of coming
Too
out and
busy
protesting.
playing the high road or some
I don't
kind of
I don't
false
think so.
piety.
I think because I think Donald Trump he says a lot of it. They're coming after you, and the thing is the conservative people, once they start showing their head and rearing up, they're going to put
Because
them
they're doing
down.
it by powers of one. If people would show up in mass, this sniper tactic that the left is using wouldn't work because there's too many people. It would still marshal through and overrun. I don't.
Yeah, but and I believe you on that part.
The tide,
the
this
thing-
red tide thing was a fallacy to get us all hyped up.
But what's the spark that ignites flame? That's
Who knows?
that
I
it's gonna-
believe
it's going to be.
it's already been ignited. And I believe it was the whole Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney thing. Now,
From a consumer perspective, I would agree.
that's how you do it. It's Disney's
Vote with
down.
your feet. Yeah. What
What about the Skittle thing that's going on?
Yeah, but that's been going on for years.
Well, they've always said taste the rainbow, but I don't think it had anything to do
Not
with the
wrong
with the
rainbow.
alphabet community. But
Well, the L's and the G's hate the T's, so there's going to be a breakdown in that structure. One of those two is going to kick the other one out, so it's be a 2-on-1. And I don't know what the AI plus is for.
they had to include it's because they heard my rant and they decided to include some vowels.
The AEIOU. I should have burped that.
Sometimes why?
Sometimes why?
It's not going to change till we make it change, and as long as these
Well, and that's a good point. But how do we make when it's the we factor? It can't happen solely on one person.
No,
and the thing
that's why
is
you
the
have
we's.
to, a
I don't
bunch
know.
of we's have to stand up. So we've got to do a bunch of Tea Parties, a bunch of
Exactly.
Trumps, a
Dude,
bunch
it's the
of
whole
Burrs.
it's whole
But the thing is
follow the money. Follow the money.
Yeah.
But
And
my
that's
th-
what politicians do. They follow the money.
Right.
And if we are not spending money on these big businesses, right, that support the politicians and put all the money
that
in their
forces
pocket,
them to change.
then the businesses are going to change, so the politicians are going to have to change. That's how it's got to happen. We got to hit them with the pocketbook.
Yeah, and that we is an individual thing. There's the other part that I was getting at. It's like there's the we the people, and when I say we the people, it means everybody with like mind thinkers. It's like where are they at? Because you go out and talk, and I see a lot.
Most people that you're describing that are like that are working.
Right.
They're at their job doing their thing. They don't have time.
Yeah, but you know
to
what?
be
They're still going to
aggrieved.
basketball games. They're still going to football games and baseball games. You know, I mean, nobody's watching women's basketball. We know that, but
Nobody has ever watched that.
and then we got who's this?
Oh, there's a women's
Who's this
basketball?
Annis Freedom guy, basketball player, 7 foot tall.
The
He
one
was
that
the one that
The one coming
from,
to San Antonio?
Was he from Turkey or from Greece? No, he's not
is-
playing right now.
Is he the guy that created? He's not the guy that was it. Unite Us, that brand.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Could be, but he's out there. You know, he's saying now.
People are getting fed up. and
He's
there's-
saying now that I can't. What if I can't get? I'm being blacklisted from the NBA. No, but none of the teams are going to get me because I speak out against China.
Yeah.
But so what should I do now? Should I go put on a wig and go play in the WNBA and go dominate in the WNBA? Would that be right? And
They already made a movie for that. It's called Joanna Man.
Well, he's and he's saying basically it's not right. What's going on is not right in the world, and I believe people are getting to the point where they're just
He's not the
going to
first
have
sports
it
guy to
anymore.
do that. There's some
Comedians
guy-
are starting to do it.
Rob Schneider just finished having a big special out.
Even
And
what's his name? Mayer. What's his name? Bill Mayer.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
See, now
as liberal as he is,
he was
still,
But now
he's not liking
he's
this
an
at
official
all.
moderate.
Yeah,
he's
because
officially in the
it's been
middle.
about a year, hasn't it? Yeah, when
Yeah.
he I don't know what it was that
He's trying to get some of that Joe Rogan money by playing moderate and bringing a bunch of people in and talk to him. So
Have y'all listened to any Roseanne stuff like recently?
yeah,
No, I haven't watched. I got
Hilarious.
she's funny.
So after I left your place the other day, I was telling him I've binge watched. No, I was telling you Homeland. So I've been like
Scary,
season
isn't
2,
it?
3, 4. I only saw season 1, but I'm like now. So I watched since I've been to his house 2, 3, and 4, and I'm almost done with 4. And there's all of that. It's just like it's scary as shit because it's like we've already seen this.
Yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. This is the '80s all over again.
Yeah.
Only worse.
Yeah, and this is the
80s.
80s. Well, no, this is the 80s. This
When
is
I went
this,
in '84, there was still
was
nonsense
they was
going
shit
on in
happen-
the '70s.
Yeah, but the thing is this is like what, during the Afghan war and all that shit. It's like this is. It's so easy to relate to it because it's like, oh shit, I think I've been there. That type
Well,
of scenario.
how much
I've
of
seen
this
these
is-
type of
What are
people.
we talking about?
We're talking about how real the movie is, the show is. In terms of
okay.
Homeland.
I haven't watched it, so I have no idea. I don't know what we're talking
Oh,
about.
so it's basically it's
He
it's
was
all
like,
about
it's still going on in the 80s. Like, what are
it's
you
all
talking
about
The
it's-
80s were
hey,
awesome.
It was all about the Al Qaeda, the ISIS.
That's
the
how
fucking,
it starts.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
So there's a guy that gets he screws up, gets caught. He gets flipped while he's in custody of these bad guys, and
Spent 8 years with them.
Yeah, he's a high speed Marine. Comes back, gets a bunch of accolades, gets close to the president, and on and on and on. And it's just Machiavellian stuff that keeps flowing. So it's like Deep State, only not as entertaining.
The perfume guy?
No,
Machiavelli?
actually, the actor that plays the bad guy is the same redheaded guy from Billionaire, or Billions. Is it
I
Billions?
don't know what that means. I just heard you say something about Machiavelli. Isn't that the
Machiavellian?
perfume? Isn't that perfume?
No,
I don't know.
Okay.
Machiavelli is a Frenchman from the 1800s that was quite the duplicitous prick.
He didn't make perfume.
I don't think so.
Oh, shit.
Well, back to what we were talking about. It just seems like there's not enough, and I'm hoping it's gonna multiply and get more, but there's just not enough standing up and saying no more of this bullshit.
Well,
It's slowly coming, but it's
Well, yeah, it's going to be slow, and there's nothing fast about it because it's going to either run on a 2-year or 4-year cycle. But now that you've people that are being disruptive, that are getting into leadership, the Morgan Luttrell, and we were kind of had our hopes up for Crenshaw, and but now you've got other military members that are run for office and won, and the latest guy that's not another one that's not a politician, that's not military, but he's pro-military, pro-2A, is Brandon Herrera. So you've got guys from the San Antonio area running for these, and there's going to be more. The more successful that they are, the more of them will show up.
Yeah, and eventually they will become part of the machine.
I'm not going to be that jaded because I
am
think
that
so.
jaded. I believe that
It's entirely possible that
it's going to happen.
Here's
they're going to become part of the machine.
They talk about it. If you want to make
absolute power corrupts absolutely is one paradigm, and the other one is the more money you make, the more corrupt you get. So you could look at it from either perspective. Double paradigm.
So the thing is like
don't pay attention
the
to
more
a pair of dimes.
The biggest impact you can make on today's world is
being successful.
Is being in your is as an individual, and they've said it, and it took me a while to realize it, but they're right. Being part of your, community in your district, your city, local, school boards, having a voice into that because that's what's really pushes the change in overall the politics and viewpoints. Because if you speak out, the more will rally. And maybe I just answered my own question here.
There was a question?
Yeah.
I think they were statementing.
Yeah, I was statementing, but with a question mark form, you understood what I said, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sheep are going to be sheep regardless of what side they're on.
Right.
They're only going to be aggressive as long as they don't feel that they have a pain point. So the second somebody calls them a racist or makes them put a mask on or makes them stay inside, then they're going to vacillate back to the other side. So you're never going to get away from the sheeple. What's going to happen is you start separating the wheat from the chaff, and the strong are going to pop up and turn into sheep dogs, which is like some of these younger candidates that are finally stepping up. So hopefully that's enough of an impetus to make a larger change, but it's going to be more like turning a glacier than it is turning a sports car. It's just going to be real long and slow and ponderous.
So did you guys, the link I sent out the other day, did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
The flaming liberal guy that went to a Trump rally?
And
I don't think I've seen it.
He went as a flaming liberal and had conversations with Trump supporters, right? And they had a conversation, and it was civil, and there was agreement on certain topics, and the whole, the gist of the interview was that we're not that far apart. We're just not that far apart.
We are.
The needs
but
are the same.
Here's the thing: we don't see stuff like that. You know what we see? We see the Liberty University people. We see the Fallon talk show hosts or whatever. I know that's what I'm saying. They're in control of the narrative.
You see
but when you get out there, we're not that far apart. No. And it's the mainstream media and it's our government and Hollywood that are just keeping us divisive, and we've got to quit listening to that narrative.
Goebbels propaganda arm of the Bidenomics / first mattress regime is the one that's forcing this. The deep state is paying all of these people to not show regular stuff, to show the false news, the false narratives.
And then we've got in the social media stuff when somebody makes a comment and all this, when you hear about social media went crazy, this is all the bots from other countries that are coming in and from external sources coming in and dividing us. They need us to be a part.
And all that stuff.
AI.
Reed Brothers.